Hello, and welcome to today's Sunshine Prepper News. I'm Willow, the Sunshine Prepper, here to spread a bit of positivity on the unavoidable doom and gloom. Today, I'm going to touch on 3 disasters. March is kicking off pretty eventfully with record-breaking blizzards, wildfires, and banking shenanigans. Before we dive in, join me for a nice long, deep breath and sigh to oxygenate our blood and relax our nervous systems. Okay, first up is the weather. What are the chances you get between 5 and 10 feet of snow fall in parts of California and Nevada, while at the same time, the now largest fire in the history of Texas consumes over 1 million acres? Seems like end of times appropriate weather if I ever saw any, so get your soul stuff sorted out while the sun is still shining. If the nukes don't get us, the weather extremes look like they want to try. So far, there haven't been any casualties from the blizzard, but it shut down Interstate 80 and there were plenty of stranded cars and big trucks. You know, high winds and heavy snow plus power lines equal thousands of people out of power, and they're expecting more snow in that area. It's a good reminder to have your weather preps in order. But man, when you start to look at the wildfire situation in Texas, the blizzard feels more like a fierce inconvenience than a disaster. In the panhandle of Texas, which is the northern part, there are multiple wildfires raging. The largest of them is the Smokehouse Creek fire, which started on February 26th, and as of March 5th, it has burned about 1,060,000 acres. This fire has devastated ranching in the area, killing thousands of cattle and leaving several dozen families homeless. About 400 structures have been lost. There's a situation where emergency services had to evacuate 66 patients twice. Fire is no joke. In the most recent update I found put out by the governor, the perimeter is about 550 feet of the fire that's still currently burning. Is something they're still dealing with. The danger is not over. But despite being such a far-sweeping destruction, there have only been 2 human fatalities so far, which speaks to the excellence of response and coordination of all the emergency services in Texas. There's been an inspiring amount of local support for the families and ranchers affected. When you lose your stuff to fire, it's gone. People are sifting through ashes with mess strainers trying to find wedding rings and anything left behind. Some people only had 20 minutes or so to grab what they could and get out. It happened really, really fast. It's crazy. I was surprised to find out that Texas regularly has a wildfire season between winter and spring. If you're reaching into your tinfoil hat, 90% of wildfires are started by human activity, but in the end, it's the weather conditions for spreading that initial ember that really cause an event that we call a wildfire. There will surely be quite an investigation, but so far, there's a claim that a power pole snapped and started the fire. It's not likely this was any kind of attack on our food supply, but the results on the food supply will be similar. If you eat beef, get it while you can. The total herd size in the USA is at all-time lows, and this disaster does not help at all. That brings us to our last disaster, which I didn't know what to call other than banking shenanigans. If you're in the USA, this will affect you. So I didn't realize that part of the banking relief from 2020, the whole shut down the economy and all those brilliant decisions, part of that banking relief was that they removed the 3% reserve requirements from the banks. In short, a bank usually has to keep some percentage of the money that they take in the bank. They can't loan it all out. That's been the rule since the dawn of fractional reserve banking, so to speak. But an exception was made because of the emergency. So on March 11th of 2024, the lifeline ends. That super special exception expires and banks are expected to be able to hold some amount of reserves again. Back in November 2023, the CEOs of Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and JP Morgan were in front of Congress telling them they cannot be held to the 3% standard and will not be able to compete with banks around the world. Whatever that means, what do you think they're saying without saying? I don't know, but maybe it has to do with why insiders and CEOs are selling stocks at near record amounts recently. Now, this doesn't mean that everything goes to hell in a handbasket on March 11th. The public is usually 3 months behind on financial news because of quarterly reporting and whatnot, but it's worth keeping an eye on how things play out during the first 30 to 60 days after the lifeline ends. Will that be the domino that analysts look back on as the ember that torches our banking system to the ground? Only time will tell. Let's take another nice deep breath and sigh. Okay, that wasn't so bad. So what can you do this week to spin the doom into productive action? Will you make sure your blackout kit is good to go in case a blizzard takes out your power? Will you test your bug out grab and go plan? Do you know what you could grab if you only had 20 minutes? Or maybe you'll take out a little more cash in case the banks pull a bail-in, or grab a few ounces of silver. Whatever it is, find some action that is right for you and do what you can to better hedge yourself and your family against the potential doom and gloom. Thank you for tuning in. Sunshine Prepper out.